Hello students, welcome to Daily Chronicles by Abhiram Ias Academy. Today, let's learn the most important topics from the Hindu, Indian Express and also from the PIB. So, today's topics are, let's talk about the National Panchayati Raj Day, as today we are celebrating Panchayati Raj Day, and also let's talk about the Indus Water Treaty and also about the heat waves and also about the air pollution, judicial review in India, and lastly let's talk about the World Bank, World Bank lowered the India's growth forecast, and lastly let's talk about the measles and rubella, which was discussed in the PIB. Chalo, let's start. The first topic is the National Panchayati Raj Day. As April 24th, we celebrate National Panchayati Raj Day. Every year, April 24th, we celebrate the National Panchayati Raj Day. Okay. In this context, let's know briefly about the Panchayati Raj institutions. Now, what are Panchayati Raj? Basically, your local self-governments. Local self-governments, right? So, this National Panchayati Raj Day is observed on April 24th every year, and since 2010 it has been declared by the Government of India. What is the purpose of it? To celebrate the decentralization of power, that is local bodies. So, decentralization of power to the rural local governments and recognize the roles and responsibilities of the Panchayati Raj institutions in this democratized world, right? Now, further, why April 24th? Because on this day, our 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act has come into the frame. Okay, so on April 24th, it marks the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of in the year 1992, coming into force on April 24, 1993, which gave the constitutional powers to the Panchayati Raj. Now, this Panchayati Raj comes under which schedule of the Indian Constitution? It comes under the 12th schedule, right? Whereas 13th schedule is dealing with the municipalities. And who is father of local self-government? Basically, Lord Ripon. Lord Ripon is father of local self-governments. Okay. Now, further, let's talk about the Panchayati Raj system. As we know, Panchayati Raj system comes under Part 9 of the Indian Constitution, dealing with the articles from 243 to 243O, and it is coming under the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of the year 1992. And further, it is a three-tied structure. Everyone knows that is dealing with the Gram Panchayat at the village level, Gram Samiti at the block level or the intermediate level, and lastly, it is the Jilla Parishad in the district level. Jilla means district, right? So, Jilla Parishad at the district level. And further, who conducts the elections? It's not the National Election Commission, but it is the State Election Commission. So, State Election Commission conducts the elections for this local self-government bodies for every 5 years, and the seats are reserved for SC categories, ST categories, and also for the women. And women not less than the 33%, that is 1/3 of the reservation for the women. Okay. Now, the next topic is the Indus Water Treaty. Now, why this is in news? Because India is putting this 1960 Indus Water Treaty on hold. Why? Because this was a response for the recent Pahalgam incident happened in India. Whereas Pahalgam incident happened in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. And what is the response for that? One of the response is holding of the Indus Water Treaty. Now, so basically, this treaty was signed in the year 1960, and the parties involved were India and Pakistan, between the India and Pakistan. Who were the signatories? The then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and the then Prime Minister of Pakistan, Ayub Khan, and it was brokered by the World Bank. Okay. Now, what is the objective of this treaty? As everyone know, Indus Water Agreement. So it regulates the use and distribution of the Indus river systems between the India and Pakistan. What rivers? So basically western rivers for Pakistan, western rivers were allocated to the Pakistan for unrestricted use with limited non-consumption use allowed for India. What are the rivers flowing to the Pakistan? It is the Indus, Jhelum and also Chenab. And what are the other rivers associated with India? So the eastern rivers are allocated to India for unrestricted use, and the eastern rivers are Ravi, Bias and Satluj. Okay. So eastern rivers like Ravi, Satluj, Bias are for India, and western, towards the western side of the Indus rivers are like Indus, Jhelum and Chenab for the Pakistan. Now further, let's see the significance of this suspension, that is significance of holding of Indus Water Treaty. So it is a strategy of India, like India gains flexibility in how it uses the Indus river system. That is, now India will stop sharing the hydrological data with the Pakistan, and it can also build the storage structures on the western banks of the river, that is towards the western side of the Indus river, and it disallows the Pakistani visit to the hydropower projects related to this river, and also reservoir flushing on Kishanganga to extend dam life. Okay, these are the strategies of India with respect to holding of the Indus Water Treaty with Pakistan. And further, in this context, let's also learn about Indus River system. So, Indus River system is originated from the glacier near Bokarchu, near the Kailash range of the Tibet, near the Manas Sarovar lake, and it is entering into India at the Demchok, that is in the Ladakh. So, where it is originated near the glacier called Bokarchu in the Kailash ranges of Tibet near the Manas Sarovar, and further how it is entering into India from the Demchok ranges of the Ladakh, and further it is flowing between the Karakoram and also the Ladakh ranges, and further where it is emptying into Arabian Sea near the Karachi of the Pakistan. Clear about the Indus River water system? Now further, heat waves. Why again heat waves comes into the news? Because as we are experiencing the increased amount of temperatures, right? So rising temperatures we are experiencing, and Telangana government has IMD has issued heat wave alert for the Telangana districts. Okay. Now in this context, let's talk about the heat wave. What are heat waves? Heat wave is nothing but abnormal increase of the temperatures, high temperatures exceeding the normal maximum temperatures typically occurring during the summer season. Everyone know that. Now, what is the criteria to declare as a heat wave? So basically, for plains, maximum temperature should be greater than or equal to 40 degrees centigrade. But for coming to the hilly regions, the maximum temperature should be around 30 degrees centigrade, greater than or equal to 30 degrees centigrade. And for coastal areas, it should be like, for coastal areas, almost around 37 degrees centigrade. So for Telangana to be declared as heat wave condition, it should be almost like 35 to 40 degrees centigrade of the temperature. Now, this heat wave is declared when the actual maximum temperature remains for almost like 45 degrees centigrade or more, irrespective of the normal maximum temperature, and it has to be like 2 consecutive days. For 2 consecutive days, you have to experience this amount of temperature. Now, we can see here the article is telling almost in Nirmal district of Telangana region, 44.5 degrees Celsius of temperature, and further in Nizamabad, it is like 44.4, and further Mancherial 44.3 degrees centigrade. Now we can see almost Telangana is undergoing 40 to 44 degrees centigrade of temperature, right? So please do take care of yourself, okay? Do not keep your works in the afternoon and do not travel in the afternoons. And further, what are the factors contributing to the heat wave? One is El Nino conditions, and the other thing is transportation or prevalence of hot and dry air over those regions. That is basically dry air over the regions, and also absence of any moisture in the upper atmosphere, cloudless skies which is allowing the maximum solar radiation, and also presence of large amounts of amplituded anticyclonic flow over the areas. If it is cyclones, we'll experience the rainfall. If it is anticyclones, we do not experience any rainfalls, right? So, what are the factors contributing to the heat waves? One is dry air and also absence of moisture in the upper atmosphere, cloudless skies, and also anticyclogenic flow of the area. Now, let's talk about the air pollution. Why it is in news? Because there is an article or the statistics given related to the air pollution, and it is telling air pollution in India, where does it come from? Okay, this is the article name. So basically the article is dealing with 6 types of gases. Okay, and it is telling that due to this gases increase, many people are dying. Okay, the article is telling that millions of people die prematurely from the air pollution every year. Now, what is the cause of deaths? Basically from the 6 pollutants. 6 pollutants, okay, are causing the deaths. What are they? Let's see one by one. First, he mentioned about the sulfur dioxide. Okay, what is the main source of the sulfur dioxide? Coming from the energy productions, especially from the coal power stations, right? What is the impact? It is showing a major impact for the people, like it is contributing to the acid rain. Now, what is the other reason? Basically, coal contains sulfur impurities which are released into the atmosphere while burning. Okay, burning of the coal is releasing the sulfur components into the atmosphere, and it is creating the pollution in the air. Further, nitrogen oxides. So, what is the main source of it? Transportation from the vehicles and also energy production from the coal and gases. What is the impact it is showing? So, these nitrogen oxides are accumulating in the body, basically in the lungs, and causing the respiratory disorders. Causing the respiratory disorders. Okay. So, first is sulfur dioxide and other is nitrogen oxide. Second is the black carbon. What is black carbon? Soot material which is released from the emissions of the gases and also from the industries and also from our vehicles too. So, the main sources biomass and charcoal burning while cooking, right? And also the open waste burning. What are the regions most affected? Lower income countries and also India. Why? Because we use the traditional cooking methods. What is the impact? It is going into the lungs and also it is like accumulating over the ice regions. It is Arctic and Antarctic. And what is causing? It is leading to the melting of ice and also increase of surface temperatures. And it is accumulating in the respiratory organs, that is lungs, and causing respiratory illness. Now further, methane. What is happening? What is the major source of methane emissions? Agriculture. So agriculture is a top contributor of the methane, like released from the livestock and rice fields, and also waste, that is rotting the organic matter in the landfills. What is the impact showing? So powerful greenhouse gas as methane, you know that it is a powerful greenhouse gas and it is leading to the increase of temperatures, that is global warming. This methane is causing the global warming. Okay, and it is all, and with this global warming, it is showing the change of climate change. It is impacting the climate change. And now further, the other two are ammonia. What is the main source? Agriculture again, where it is coming from the fertilizers and also the livestock waste. What is the impact? Basically the same. Again, it is going into the respiratory organs, that is lungs, and causing the respiratory illness and ultimately leading to the death of the person. Right? So now the article is telling that almost 3.85 lakhs of people are being died due to this ammonia. Okay. Now further, non-methane volatile organic components. What is the main source of it? Everything like paints, cleaning products, plastics, burning of plastics. Okay, it is directly impacting us. It is creating toxicity in the atmosphere and contributing to the ozone and small particulate formations, that is PM 2.5. This is about the air pollution article, and they have given some statistics, but these are the main gases related to the article. Now, the next topic is the judicial review in India. Why it is in news? Basically, because the article is telling that is India witnessing the judicial despotism. Now, what is despotism? Basically, it is nothing but unlimited power. Unlimited power. So, is India witnessing the judiciary's unlimited power? Let's see. Now, what is the difference between is ఒక్క నిమిషం చింటూ, అసలు ఆర్టికల్ ఏం చెప్తుంది? So the article is talking about the judicial review and judicial activism. Okay. Okay, no? Okay. Now, the next topic is about the judicial review. Now, why this is in news? Because there is an article telling that is India witnessing the judicial despotism. What is despotism meaning? Basically, it is nothing but unlimited power. So, is India witnessing the judiciary's unlimited power? Is the question mark. Now, the article is describing about the judicial activism and also about the judicial review. In this context, let's talk about the judicial review. So, judicial review is a term mentioned in the Constitution? No. The term is not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution, but it is taken inference from the Article 13, which is describing any law violating the Constitution is the void. Okay. So, any law, as per the Article 13, any law violating the Constitution is void. Okay. And from Article 32 and 226, it is empowering the Supreme Courts and High Courts to enforce the fundamental rights. So, judicial review is nowhere mentioned in the Constitution, but it has been taken inference from the Article 13 and also from the Article 32 and 226 of the Indian Constitution. Now, further, let's talk about the judicial review versus the judicial activism. What is judicial review? Judicial review is nothing but scrutiny of laws and actions of the government for their constitutional validity. So basically, judiciary reviews everything like the laws made by the government. Now, what is judicial activism? So, judiciary is stepping in where this executive or legislature fails. That is the judicial activism, like activity of the judiciary. Okay. Okay. So, judicial activism is nothing but judicial stepping in where the executive or legislature fails, then the judiciary comes into the picture. Now, further, so through distance, both look alike, but both reflect the judiciary's intervention roles. And critics want that, like, judiciary overstepping into the governance is very bad thing, because we have the separation of powers, right? Separation of powers, where executive, legislative and judiciary functions independently. That is where the concept of separation of powers comes into the picture. Now further, let's talk about the basic structure of doctrine. Basically, this judicial review is a part of the basic structure of doctrine. Yes? So, judicial review is part of basic structure of doctrine. Now, it is also ensuring the rule of law. What is rule of law? Simple. No one is above the law, right? So, it is ensuring the rule of law. That is, no one is above the law. And it is also protecting the fundamental rights, right? Now, further, the Supreme Courts or any courts is acting like the guardians of the Indian Constitution, right? So, judicial review comes under the basic structure of doctrine, and nowhere it is mentioned in the Constitution, but judicial review is part of the basic structure of the doctrine. And further, it ensures rule of law. What is rule of law? That is, no one is above the law, and it is also protecting the fundamental rights. Now, further, let's talk about so there is an article saying that World Bank lowered the India's financial year 26 growth by forecasting it to 6.3. Before it was 6.7. Now it has been forecasted to 6.3 for the financial year 2026. Okay. Now in this context, let's see why. What are the reasons for this? So basically 2 reasons it has shown. One is the slower private investment growth and also underachievement in the public capital expenditure, which failed to meet the government target. So both reasons have been cited. One is with respect to private sector, that is slower private investment, and the other is with respect to the government, that is underachievement of the public capital expenditure. Okay. Now let's see what are the challenges to sustain the India's economic growth. One is everywhere you can see tariffs trade is going on. So global economic weakness, slowdowns in the global economy, and further policy uncertainty. You can see the changes of the policies across the world. That is changes and unpredictability in the domestic policies affecting the investor confidence and also in the international market too. And further, monetary easing and regulatory streamlining, like RBI is taking many efforts to boost the investment offset regarding the global challenges. So RBI is handling those efforts, and also private investment slowdown, that is slower growth in the private sector due to the global challenges, and further public investment shortfall. So lower than expected public investments, especially in the infrastructure, that is failure of the government's public capital expenditures. So these are the challenges with respect to the article. Like the article is focusing that due to those reasons, that is private investment shutdowns and also failure of the government's public capital expenditure. So India is witnessing the downfall of the growth to 6.37, and before it was like 6.7%. Okay. So now it has forecasted to 6.3%. Who? World Bank. Now, next article is about the measles and rubella. This article has been selected from the PIB. So what the article is telling, basically, Union Health Minister Shri J.P. Nadda launches the National Zero Measles and Rubella Elimination Campaign on the occasion of World Immunization Week. Okay, this is the article. So let's talk about the topic measles and rubella. What are measles and rubella? You know, they are the diseases, right? So basically what is measles? It is a viral disease, okay, viral contagious disease, which is significantly causing death of the young children globally. And further, it is caused by the single stranded enveloped RNA virus with one serotype, and it is specially caused by the morbillivirus gene, which is belonging to the family Paramyxoviridae family. What are the complications? It can lead to serious health issues leading to the blindness, encephalitis, severe diarrhea, ear infections, and also the pneumonia. Okay, so it is causing blindness, encephalitis, pneumonia, diarrhea, and also ear infections. Like what is causing this? So the morbillivirus gene of the Paramyxoviridae virus is causing this measles, and it is a viral disease. Now further coming to the rubella. See, measles and rubellas are almost similar, but the only significant difference here is like red rash. It is sharing the red rash, but rubella is generally less severe than compared with the measles. And further, rubella is less infectious and also severe compared to the measles. Okay, it is less infectious, but it is more severe compared to the measles. Now, what is rubella? Okay, it is also called as German measles, where it is a mild viral infection primarily affecting the children and young adults. What is causing it? Basically the same. It is caused by the rubella virus, which is an enveloped single-stranded RNA virus. Okay, this is about the rubella. Anything more to tell? Okay, both are the viral diseases. Remember, rubella and measles are both viral diseases. Okay, and they're primarily affecting the youth and the children. That's it. And now further, what are the India's efforts taken with respect to these diseases? So, phased measles catch-up immunization 2020-2023 program was launched, targeting the elimination of measles and also targeting the children of age 9 months to 10 years in 14 states, vaccinating appropriately 119 million children. Okay, basically it is a vaccination program for treating the rubella and measles disease. And further, in the year 2024, there was like Mission Indradhanush. What is Mission Indradhanush? Vaccination program. So it was launched to increase the immunization cover, especially focusing on the unvaccinated population. And further, there is also policy, that is National Strategic Plan for Measles and Rubella Elimination. Okay, what it is what is aiming at? It is aiming at eliminating the measles and rubella in India, and also introduction of rubella containing virus into the routine immunization program. So basically it is treated through these measles and rubella is treated through vaccines, right? So 3 programs have been launched by India, that is phased measles catch-up immunization, Mission Indradhanush, where the vaccine is involved, vaccine is given for the measles and rubella, and also National Strategic Plan for Measles and Rubella Elimination Program. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.